So first,
Absolutely.
and I was
Let's dig it all up.
oh, no.
True.
You'll never guess.
So sidebar.
Yes. And also, I feel like I shouldn't have to remember everything.
I know.
Actually, I have to talk about this.
3, 2, 1.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
I'm Alicia.
And I'm Meredith.
And this is Also Podcast Summer House Edition, Season 9, Episode 2. I missed my friends. I'm so happy they're back.
Gosh, I love these people. I know
I do too.
we get into cast. We're like, this has been the 9th season of this, but I don't want a new cast. I want them somewhere else, maybe. Like I want them to stay with me forever.
In. I like filtering in and out. I think like when we know someone's time is up, we know.
I know, but like Kyle, Amanda, Carl, Lindsay, Paige, like just bring them to the city. I want them in some capacity together always. Like,
maybe.
Put me in a retirement home and them in a retirement home together.
I think it's more like what I love about this show, and the cast can like leave whenever they want. But what I love about the show is I don't have anyone I like hate.
Yeah.
Like I respect all of them, and even when I say like, oh, I hate this person, like I have respect.
It's like momentary dislike. Like I don't agree with them in this argument. It's similar how you would be with your own roommates. Like you might have little tiffs or like don't like them in the moment, but overall, like you're going to keep watching this show. You're going to keep living with these people.
They're all great people, I'm sure, even when I say they're terrible. But before we get into all the terrible things they did this episode, if you want more of us, we have an Instagram, a TikTok, a YouTube, and a Patreon. All the links are in our description. And also, please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Should we just jump in the episode? I'm so excited.
Yes, I loved it. I love this. I love this season already.
I know. So previously on Summer House, we're all back. We meet new girl Lexi. Jesse is immediately smitten with her. Wes and Ciara are not on good terms because Wes's latest article in the New York Times, Lindsay is pregnant. Carl has not been at the house yet, but he did find out about the pregnancy via Lindsay's Instagram post. So we pick up right where we left off, which is when Carl walks into the summer house for the first time. And great. So it's July 5th, 12:57 p.m. Carl walks out back into the backyard where everyone's swimming. Ciara's first up to hug Carl, and Lindsay just floats away on her little pool floaty.
I think where he entered in, like where the dynamic was in the house was perfect. Like he just walks up to a big group, just generally says hi. He doesn't need to say
people
hi
approach
specifically to like each person, but he's like, hey, like some fist bumps, some weird kisses on the hand.
People can approach him. Yeah. It's fine. So he does kind of do his little hello to everyone. Lindsay, though, doesn't blame Carl for not saying hi to her because she doesn't actually care that much about him, about what he's feeling.
I love the unbotheredness.
Dude, this would hurt me more than like being mean to me. Like the unbotheredness is like, yikes.
Especially because, and I don't think this, but it could come off as like she's thriving in life. Like she's now got a partner that works for her and a baby on the way, and she's getting everything that she kind of ever wanted. And so she's like
moved on.
Not ignoring you, but just being so unbothered.
Yeah.
It would make me feel a little inferior as the other person.
I think it's just like awkward in the sense of like Carl is kind of, as far as we know, still where he is from when the breakup happened, where Lindsay's had all these life changes and she's just moved on. Like the breakup to her is so far in the rear view, whereas Carl is maybe like just moving past it, right? So it's just like awkward. But Lindsay's super done with this emotion. She doesn't really care about his emotions or feelings because it's not her issue anymore. So he can lean on someone else for the softness and the tenderness and the tighter hugs. Someone else can squeeze him.
Screamed when I heard her say this. I was like, yes.
Absolute yuck. Okay, so everyone kind of picks up on that Carl and Lindsay didn't say hi to each other. But Carl really does. He tells Kyle he wants to congratulate Lindsay. I'm sure to make it seem like we're good. Get off on a high setting.
Yeah, like
start the summer good.
You just have to because they were friends prior, and this house is about being friends. So Carl, like friend Carl, would congratulate her. So like, let's just do it.
And if there's a group of people that knows how this show works, it's Kyle, Carl, and Lindsay.
Yes.
They're not going to let the show die on their backs. Not on them. So Carl just wants to say the right thing, but he's afraid that she's going to be angry. He's basically still kind of afraid of her, as we all knew he kind of was.
Yes.
He just doesn't want her to be angry. But they were best friends first, and then they fell in love, and they almost got married, and now there's just a lot of awkward conversations that need to happen before they're in a good place, which is how a breakup goes.
I don't know. I don't think there needs to be a conversation. I think that they left it really well at the reunion.
No, I don't think a conversation about the relationship, but every conversation they have is going to be awkward.
And it slowly
until
they're stepping
it doesn't.
out. Yeah, that's true. They're getting over the hump of awkwardness now.
Yeah, there's a lot of awkward conversations that need to happen, and then we'll get past
I see what you're saying. There's a lot of awkwardness to get through. Not that they have to talk about something
specific. They could talk about anything and it would be awkward, but we just have to keep moving until it's not.
That's so true.
So the boys, I'm sure to keep these two separate, are going to have a boys' day. They're not slick. So then at 2:02 p.m., boys are getting ready for the boys' day. Jesse is still creeping on Lexi through the window now.
Oh my God. It only gets worse this entire episode.
The boys all look really good. They're off for boys' day. Wes tells Carl, as far as awkward hellos go, yours was less awkward than mine.
True.
My hand got swatted. And then Paige and Amanda take a second on the couch. So they know that Carl's feeling awkward, but then Amanda's like, doesn't matter because Lindsay's pregnant, and now that means we're all pregnant. This house is pregnant, and they all need to start getting their shits together because they're going to have a baby. And Paige says that Lindsay's pregnancy gives her anxiety because, just to give you perspective, Paige and Craig started dating, then Lindsay and Carl started dating, then Lindsay and Carl got engaged, then Lindsay and Carl were planning a wedding, then Lindsay and Carl called off the wedding, and then Lindsay got a new boyfriend, and now Lindsay's pregnant, and Paige is still dating Craig.
I understand this pressure, and even I understand it even more from Paige's side because I feel the pressure of when my friends have had kids, and I'm not even dating somebody.
But I don't know. There's something really liberating about it being like,
I totally agree. But
there's something I
Paige
love,
being on a tandem timeline with Lindsay and Carl.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more stressful when you started dating at the same time.
We don't have to. Just blinders on, Paige. Don't even look at them. Don't even look.
I'm happy that Craig and Paige broke up secretly and we get to watch this in their breakup because
it validates us.
It's very validating to watch Paige's comments. And you can kind of tell in her interview comments more so that she was really done with the relationship. But I really love that she doesn't want to have kids because it's nice to see. It's nice to see people represent you on TV. And I'm like, yeah, girl, we're not doing that.
Exactly. So it's 2:54 p.m. Boys' Day. They tell Carl about Lexi and Jesse basically dating.
Oh my God.
And Jesse very much jokes that he's already in a relationship. They also bring up his awkward love of my life comment that he made last episode. And Wes just thinks Jesse's 5 years cancer-free. That's a big milestone. Maybe he's just living life to the absolute fullest at this point. No fucks given.
Yeah, but it literally has been 24 hours.
It's just, if I was Lexi, I would be freaked out.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what are we doing?
If they're dating or even if they're not dating, I'm so curious what, in present day, by the time the reunion happens, I'm so curious what her thoughts are on this first 24 hours from a, step back perspective.
But I think she's feeling Jesse, so I don't think she thinks it's weird, but I'm not this type of person that immediately I might joke and be like, I saw my husband at Jewel and now we're in love, but never in my life would I fully go this hard in 24 hours.
But that's what it is. Half of this stuff she doesn't even get to see, so she doesn't know how hard he's going. So I think if she now sees it in present day with all these interviews in the comments, I would be getting the ick.
Maybe, but also he he's friended her on Instagram at 4 a.m. She has to know that he's thinking about her.
He's on the obsessive side.
He literally can't stop talking to her.
That's true.
He said, "This is love of my life," and then all the shit we're going to talk about this episode that he does,
it only gets that's what I'm thinking though, like it keeps getting worse, but at least it's in front of her this episode.
And she seems down for it. That's like, imagine if every time she like turned her back to him, she was just like, yeah, you know, like that would be me. I'd be like, why is he always here?
That's what it is. Like she's kind of into it with him, but then she's like chatting with the girls and she's not into it. That would be so
That'd be weird. At least she's like kind of into it.
Yeah.
So the girls are having their pool day. Gabby brings up the Jesse vibes with Lexi. And Lexi says she thinks he's cute, but they're only on day 2. But she's like really shocked that the vibes are already there. And I was like, are you? He's forcing these vibes upon you.
I think there's natural vibes. Like you could kind of tell they were into each other when that first hug happened.
I don't know. I think it was just 2 hot people. I didn't feel vibes. I think it was just 2 hot people, which is also fine. But you know how you watch like not necessarily, but like Love Island or like Too Hot to Handle, where you see 2 hot people get together and you're like, I don't believe they're in love, but I believe that they're
in this coupling.
They're attracted to each other.
Yeah.
That's that. Like vibes are just they're gonna have sex and then forget about each other. Like that's the vibe I'm getting.
I got like some initial vibes. Like they were very like smiley and you could just see their like reactions to each other were excited. And then this episode I'm getting more vibes from them.
I think they just want to fuck. I think he saw her and was like, yes.
That's true.
Anyway, Lexi tells us her parents have been together 37 years, so she grew up around a really healthy relationship, which is a blessing and a curse because she had this amazing view of love, which I double this. My parents, 31 years of marriage. These 2, hella in love. They have the goals I want. They barely hang out. They just giggle about shit when they do hang out. Ideal, let me tell you. And I'm sitting here like, it'll never happen for me because my standards.
That must be interesting to like have such a high bar to hold relationships to.
My mom like runs the house. It's ideal, Meredith. Let me tell you, my mom runs the house. My dad knows his spot. It's nowhere. Women run our house. My mom gets anything she wants. My dad just rolls his eyes. He treats us like princesses, even though he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm obsessed because my mom makes him.
I love that.
Who's willing to do that for me? Give me a call.
Any takers?
So back to Boys' Day. Jesse feels really excited about Lexi. This is our only topic of discussion, which is crazy because there are ex-fiancés in the house, but we're
they're talking about other things, but it just doesn't work for this like overall story.
Never. It's literally everyone at the reunions like Jesse just talked about it for like
that. You know what? Actually, hours. I do believe that.
So he says it is a scary thought, though, because he has been single for so long. And he doesn't have her number yet, but he did DM her in the car on the way to drinks and said, I really wish I had your number right now.
He has no patience. You are going to see her. You live in the same house. I understand if this was a random person you met at a party or at a bar.
What are they going to talk about while he's gone for 5 minutes at this Boys' Day? What are we talking about? Hey, I just ordered an espresso martini.
I don't want to know that level of detail.
Anyway. They do cheers to Jesse's last night being a single man. And he says, I'm just being silly, but also kind of serious. And I was like, no.
That's my favorite where somebody's like, I'm joking. Kind of.
The thing is, if he brought it up once a day, it would be silly. This is the only thing he talks about. This is his only story.
It's been 24 hours.
This man is cancer-free, and we haven't heard anything about what he's done to celebrate being cancer-free. We haven't heard about his mom. We haven't heard nothing.
We haven't even heard, Lexi. I guess he hasn't recorded the song yet, but there's nothing about him singing even. Anything about his personality, it's all Lexi.
Yeah, he did sing a little thing what would Jesse Solomon do? Get your number after day 2. Something like that. Or marry you after day 2. And I was like, ugh. Anyway, so it's 3:38 p.m. Lexi, Bailey, and Gabby are chatting. Bailey's dating someone who's not coming to the Hamptons. I don't know why we're talking about her if she never shows up again. So.
Okay, but we do get in this segment, we do get her in an interview chair, which I was shocked to see. I really thought, because there's rumors going around, and in my timeline I mentioned this, that Bailey, there's a rumor that Bailey was confronted by production because she was leaking storylines. So I would have just assumed she did not sit for any interviews. So I'm now extending my timeline of how long I think she's here. I think she's going to be here for 5-6 episodes.
You do?
if she sat for an interview, I feel like they don't do those. I know they're like doing those while they're filming the season, but they don't pick those up immediately.
I don't know.
I think she's going to be here for sure for 2 weekends.
I thought because like Emerald comes next week that's when she's up.
Yeah, I have no clue where that guy's
Who cares? Honestly, I don't care who she's dating anyway. Okay, so Lexi did send Jesse her number, and then he fucking FaceTimes her from the car. And he's like, hey, and she's like, hey, why did you FaceTime me? Literally, why did you FaceTime me? And he's like, I just wanted to see your face. And then they chat a little, and all the boys are like dying a little. And then at the end, he's like, okay, see you in like 5 minutes. And she's like, okay, run straight to my room for a big koala.
I was like,
I couldn't even say it. I couldn't even get through it.
I was like, you guys are both psychopaths. That's fine.
I couldn't even get through it. When they hung up, the boys lost it. I was Wes. I was sitting there cringing in the front seat, just like, oh, I thought I was going to make it through Big Koala Hug.
If I already didn't hate how much Jesse was in on this girl, I tripled the amount I disliked this the minute she said Koala Hug, because I knew I would have to see it.
I also went, what's Koala Hug? Then they showed me, and that was worse.
I did. It makes sense based on the name.
It lines up.
But
the accuracy is unmatched.
I hated it just as much as I thought I would.
So it's 5:07 p.m. The boys are back. Paige and Ciara talk about how downstairs could be on fire and they wouldn't even care. And I love it. Like, honestly, though, let's light it on fire because everyone downstairs is freaking me out with this big koala hug.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, light downstairs on fire because there's currently a koala hug going down.
It's fine. So Gabby tells Lindsay, it was weird that Carl didn't say anything to you.
Like, no, it wasn't.
Like, can I just say, though, people might hate on Gabby for this, but Gabby's being a friend to Lindsay, and this is what a friend does. So Gabby's
yes and no.
It was weird he showed up. He comes back, him and his big-ass teeth and his non-alcoholic lover boy, and it's not like he's going to pick up any girls. And I was like, that's what I would do. My friend's ex showed up.
I didn't like the non-alc conversation. Like, let's just leave his sobriety out of it.
But clearly Gabby has nothing really on
that's
Carl,
so true.
So
that's so true.
He's just going to show up here with his dumb Heineken Zero and drink his bullshit, which I shit on Heineken Zero, so I'll shit on non-alc lover boy a little too. Let me at him.
I know, but it's not like he's doing it because he's like, oh, I just want to go sober. It's like he's an alcoholic. Yeah, like let's not. That's low-hanging fruit. It would have been funny if she was like, his stupid big-ass teeth, he's not going to pick up any women, and he's like got his goldfish little commercial. Like,
fucking soft-ass personality. I'm not mad at Gabby for this. I thought it was funny. She was just like, I'm sure trying to lighten the mood with Lindsay a little. Yeah.
I don't mind the girl talk. I was just like, ooh, let's not on the lover boy zero.
I don't think she meant anything bad by it.
No, though. I know. I think she has nothing really to say. So
like, if we're gonna line it up, though, she could have said his white tight shorts.
That's a reasonable thing.
But she was just listing things about Carl. Which it was fun. He does have non-alc lover boys
in his hand at all times.
That is a thing he did. Also, could it be, this just popped in my head, that this was a point of contention in Lindsay and Carl's relationship, was going back to Loverboy for those non-alcohol lover boys. So maybe Gabby was like, he's showing up here
just a fuck you Loverboy, not really
dumb
about non-alcohol or...
Well, that he went back to, even though that was a big fucking fight, and Lindsay said you could go back there, but let's think about it. But he went back anyway. He actually fucking got a job. Fucking when he's not with you.
I can't believe he has a job.
I can't believe he got a job as soon as he left you, because you're not bankrolling him anymore. Yeah, I fucking support Gabby and all her bullshit. But Gabby does say in her interview, she says Carl coming back to the house was a choice that she wouldn't have made, but also looking sideways at Lindsay because they both shouldn't be here.
I was shocked to hear that both of them were coming back.
I was not shocked about Carl as much because his ass needs a paycheck more than Lindsay's does. Lindsay's literally pregnant. What is she doing here?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to run into my ex-fiance like this, no matter if I need the money or not.
Neither one of them is going to back down, though.
That's true. But Lindsay's, it tips more of a scale of weirdness because she's pregnant.
Yes, but also, I would rather Lindsay any day over Carl for entertainment purposes.
True. I'm not mad I have them. When I did see the photos coming out when this was filming, I was like, oh, wow.
Crazy. Yeah. It's a choice maybe we wouldn't make. I am petty. I would be like, if my ex is going back, I'm also going back.
I love a casual shade of just saying, like, it's a choice. Because, like, it was a choice. And that's simple as that.
It is a choice.
It's a choice.
And then Gabby's like, they were going to be married 9 months ago. And now they're living in the same house. And she goes, it's none of my business. But whatever. I was like,
so good.
It's not. Truly, Meredith, it's not any of our business.
But I'll watch it.
Here we are.
With popcorn in hand. Num, num, num.
Here I am judging. Anyway. So Jesse goes to get his big ass hug. And I can't. And him and Lexi start cuddling in her bed a little. And Jesse asks why she's wearing like a J necklace. And Lexi tells her that her friend passed away a year ago. So she wears his initial on her neck. His name was Jeremy, and they had been friends since they were 15, and they met because they were both models. This was like her first heartbreak that she ever experienced. But this is why she lives life so fast and fearlessly, because it can come and go very quickly. And then Jesse's like, I feel you. I'm a cancer survivor. And I was like, oh no, now they're bonding. Now they are going to have feelings.
I know. Oh, I was like, damn, we got to these stories quick.
Wow.
We're on hour 36 and we are swapping trauma stories.
We're on a 5th date. This is crazy.
Yes!
This is crazy. So, though it was a beautiful conversation they were having, I couldn't stop watching Jesse touch her because it was like he was rubbing his hand on her. He wasn't rubbing her arm. He was like, it looked like how someone would rub their hand off. Like if they got something on their hand, they would like rub it off on your.
Interesting. I didn't notice that.
Oh, I couldn't look away. It just looked so. His big ass hands and her small
I did
arm,
notice how large his hand looked next to her.
My God. But like he was just wiping his hand on her. It was crazy. Anyway, they start cuddling and then they kiss because Jesse's like, I want to kiss you right now. And she's like,
oh my God. Asking? Okay, first kisses are so
weird. So when did we decide? I actually, because we all need consent and I support that. But when did we decide we should say like, I want to kiss you? There has to be a better way.
No, I appreciate it. I think it's awkwardness that needs to happen to ensure consent. But I dread the, hey, can I kiss you?
Can I kiss you right now? No.
No, not anymore.
I hope not. Ugh, anyway. So, in a less awkward situation somehow, Lindsay comes into the kitchen with the boys, the remaining boys that aren't making out in random rooms. So Wes tells Lindsay that Jesse's in a relationship with Lexi now. And Lindsay's like, whatever, like sometimes you gotta move fast. It works for me.
Oh, God.
And can I say whoever the cameraman is, I love you, because it literally went from Lindsay and you just see the camera pan to Carl.
Just like prepping the stakes.
This cameraman had to literally, Lindsay said that and just be like, boom, hit another mark. Like it wasn't even a different camera. It was so good. Anyway, Wes leaves because he knows what's good for him. So it's just Carl, Lindsay, and Kyle.
An iconic trio for drama.
But they have, like, Kyle had to be there. Like, this is the only way. And so Lindsay's picking up, Carl's prepping dinner, Kyle's confused.
Kyle is just like, I know I don't need to be in this exact room, but I need to be in the vicinity to overhear. So Carl says, hey, Lindsay. And Lindsay says, no. Hey, Carl. And then Kyle gets the fuck out of the room, goes to work on his stereo. Kyle's like,
the whole time in the other room, he is literally just standing there.
He's like moving with his hands on something, but he's staring at them the whole time.
He's literally, his eyes don't move. He's like not looking, and he's like absentmindedly just moving his hands. But he's like stuck straight into the ground. He
tries to open a box for 10 minutes.
So they do awkward, like, how are you? I'm good. And then Carl's like, hey, congratulations. Sorry for not saying anything earlier. And Lindsay's like, that's okay. You were probably nervous. May I just also say the whole time, Carl's kind of like standing there half facing Lindsay, half not. And Lindsay's still picking things up.
Oh my God.
Not stopping. This is the best it could have gone, honestly, though.
I was like, she will not like give him like like looking him in the eyes. No. She is like, oh, I'm too busy to like sit and actually hold like a like. Not that this wasn't real, but just like having a moment. She doesn't want to have a moment with him, but she won't. She won't be rude, which I appreciate. She won't like not hear what he's saying to her. She's just like in the moment, being like, "All right, thanks."
This is I don't really care about you.
Yeah,
vibes.
I will interact with you. I will respond to you, but I'm not going to give you my full time and energy.
No, she was doing something before he started talking to her, and then he was like. You could tell he just didn't know how to stop, like just end the conversation. So he's like, yeah, I don't know. I just like, it's congratulations though. I'm like very happy for you. And Lindsay's like, okay, thanks. And Kyle is literally like still
staring,
like in shock. He doesn't know what to do. And then Lindsay's like taking out the trash and she sees Kyle and she's like, you just always have to eavesdrop in the other room while pretending to play with your speaker. And Kyle's like a kid that just got caught. He's like, his face was fully like, oh.
It's so true. I wish I had access to all the Bravo TV like records to just give us a montage of all the times Kyle has like eavesdropped while doing something related to music or in another room.
This was the best though, because normally people like I think we've seen it before where one person will walk away and see Kyle and kind of giggle and be like, oh my God, you were listening the whole time. Or just kind of look at Kyle and be like, ugh, and not say anything. But Lindsay, loud enough for Carl to hear, is like, and Kyle's like looking a little, trying to look busy. And she's like, of course you're fucking eavesdropping, Kyle. That's always you. And he's like,
oh, got him.
So, 7:01 p.m. We're getting ready for dinner. I would just like to say, there's a full-ass grill with drippings of steak on it from after Carl grilled it, and Jesse still decides to boil the corn. Why are we boiling corn when there's a fucking grill?
Especially because he's a Midwesterner. Like,
Luke would have known.
Grill people.
Luke would have grilled that fucking corn. Jesse doesn't do it for the Midwesterners. No. Maybe Wes would have grilled the corn, but like, what are we doing?
I know. I was very disappointed in that. And
Why are we boiling?
He made a big deal about the corn on Instagram. And then it's like, that was shitty corn. Don't make it a big deal when you're going to do that.
Why do you think we don't have corn in the winter? Because we can't grill it as easily. You ever think about that? You ever think about we don't have corn in the winter because we can't get to our grill as easy?
That is not true, but
yes, it is. If you can't grill it, why would you make it like that?
The supply is just the demand is down because we can't grill it. It's not that the supply is down.
No, I mean we just don't need the corn. We don't eat the corn
because we only eat grilled corn.
Literally. Anyway, I digress. So Wes is assessing his situation in the house with Ciara, right? He wants to have fun, but he also wants to be respectful. He's assessing it with Lindsay also. He's like, I want to go out and meet girls, but like Ciara's also here and that would be very disrespectful. And I was like, of course it would be.
Yeah.
And then Lindsay's like, look, whatever went down, Ciara got hurt in that process because of your actions or inactions. So you need to talk to her and get on the same page before you move forward with whatever the fuck you want to do. And Wes is like, no, that's really good. Also crazy that you're giving me advice when your ex-fiance is in the house.
That is wild.
But like somehow that's less awkward than Wes.
But Ciara, I think they also get it. They're both in the same situation. So it's nice to kind of lean on each other in this awkwardness. Yeah. But what annoys me with this is Wes says like, oh, maybe I'll just like be quiet for one weekend and like it'll pass. He thinks just gray rocking the situation will make it go away, which is just delusional behavior. Like he doesn't actually understand the situation he's in.
Yeah, my big issue with Wes is that he still kind of, though he's like kind of taking responsibility in a sense of like knowing that he hurt Ciara, he has to be respectful. He still comes like is trying to come across as like a victim to me. You know, where he's like, oh, just be like kind of quiet. And I'm like, sad.
Not 100% a victim, but he doesn't take ownership in how his continued actions are causing the problems. He understands that, like, oh, Ciara has feelings and I hurt her in the dating moment, but he doesn't look at anything else to think that, like, oh, this is an ongoing situation we're in. He thinks it ended in December. She just didn't feel her feelings. Now she's feeling her feelings. And it's like, no, this is a way bigger thing because you keep doing things, or you're not, or the lack of things, like Lindsay said, like, you're not really addressing the situation, or if you do, then you do another thing and it continues the like pattern in the cycle of it. You can't just be silent at a reunion and it'll go away. You can't just be silent here later this episode and it'll just go away.
I think that's it. There's something I don't like about it, but whatever. He's like recognizing that he sucks. That's nice. Anyway.
He's slowly getting there.
So it's 8:09 p.m. Dinner time. Kyle even makes his little announcement on his microphone. Everyone, please come down. Dinner is served.
That cracked me up.
$400 on this microphone. It was funny. It was very funny.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So Lindsay comes down. Can I just say she looks hot? Do you think she's doing berries in her pregnancy?
I don't think she is, because she was an avid poster about it prior.
Yeah, but her and Carl were going together. So
I know, but I think Carl got her into berries more than she was into berries on her own.
Oh, that's fair. Also, if I'm pregnant, I'm not going to berries either.
Carl was like a avid berries goer, and then and even before they started dating, it's like their friend group would go together.
That's true. Also, when you like give something up that you're addicted to, a lot of the times you like get addicted to something else, like sugar or like eating. Like my dad gave up cigarettes and now he always has to ride his like bicycle in the basement. Like, and if he doesn't do it, he goes nuts. So maybe that's Carl.
Also, on the flip side, Carl looks really lean right now.
He looks really lean.
Yeah. I was like, damn, you were a little bit more jacked in prior summers. Not sure what's going on here.
Which, like, go off.
I mean, no shame in the body types, men or women.
You're doing,
but I did clock
your body.
His interview that he looked a little more lean.
I mean, though, Summer House is not exactly body inclusive. Lindsay's the biggest woman in there, and she was pregnant.
True.
Like, this house is not known for getting body inclusivity together. They all go to berries. They all
people are roasting West for the end of this episode with his shirt off, sitting on Ciara's bed later. They're just. Did you see that drunk art? I think it's also him with his nipples out. Like
the nipples was crazy, but no, leave that. Literally, I said it. I
don't think it's like true mean like early aughts body shaming, but people are just like, West, what is this?
The nipples crazy, but. And that's for any of their nipples. Put them away. We don't need close-ups. I think that's it. If we want a faraway shot, that's fine. Also, seeing your ex with your nipples out, crazy. Anyway. But, like, why don't we cast a little bit more diversely? The show's very white and very skinny.
It just was a topic on the internet.
The show is very white and very skinny. And Wes is one of those, so. But internet, cut it out. He's the one we can all relate to. He loves grilled corn. We know it. Anyway, so we have our family dinner. Lindsay is the one that cheers to Carl for making this delicious.
I almost choked on my drink when I watched this. I was like, I'm on a different timeline. Somehow in that commercial break, I got on a different timeline because that did not come out of Lindsay's head.
Lindsay Hubbard, keep them on your toes.
Amen.
You never know what's going to come out of your mouth next.
I was like, damn, she is winning this. Like, she is the winning party coming into the house. She's not fearful to say anything to him.
Yeah.
She's unbothered. Like, she's like, thanks for a great dinner, ex-fiance. Loved it.
If you've ever been here before, you know I'm a Lindsay apologist. And I love her. This is right on brand. This is on brand for Lindsay. She has shown us her cards.
She was a little bit more bitter and passive-aggressive in some ways.
Because she cared.
That's true.
She doesn't care now.
That's a really good point.
She literally looked us in the eye through the camera and said, I don't care. And she is showing us. Believe people when they tell you.
You're so right. She cared a lot in the early seasons.
Yeah. Yes. And we knew that about her. She tells us. Anyway, so Paige cheerses to how mature they all are. It's a little awkward, but they can all sit at dinner. It's a work in progress.
Yep.
And Jesse's like, yeah, it's really cool. Jesse, I swear to God. He's like, yeah, it's really cool how Wes and Ciara are sitting across from each other, but Lindsay and Carl got to sit on opposite ends of that table.
I was like, you are reading the situation so wrong. Lindsay and Carl are speaking to each other. Wes and Ciara are not.
But at least, like, they have enough wherewithal to be like, we have to have this family dinner. We will just separate ourselves.
I don't think they're purposely separating themselves, though. I think Lindsay's a little conscious of, like, where she's sitting. She doesn't want to sit directly next to Carl. And I think when she came down, there was one seat open next to Carl and then, like, two others. And she knew she wasn't going to take that one. But she has no problem, like, saying, thanks, Carl, for this dinner. Yeah. Whereas if Wes cooked, Ciara would never say, thanks so much.
Spit the food right on out. Yeah. Okay, so Paige points out that Wes and Ciara actually can't even make eye contact. And Ciara goes, I won't.
No.
And I was like, are these your two best friends? Because y'all, I don't know what conversation Paige and Jesse had, but to be like, let's just call them out.
That's so true.
Crazy.
Okay, but I love it.
I love it too. But I would say, I feel like Paige was like, we got to get the ball rolling. And Jesse already said something. And I want Ciara to go off because we know Paige loves a dinner time confrontation.
Paige knows how. Paige is just like Kyle, knows how to produce this show.
Loves. And this isn't the first time she hyped up Ciara for a dinner time
So
confrontation.
true. So true.
It's not. But Jesse, this was kind of wild, but whatever. So, yeah, Ciara says, and she won't make eye contact with Wes. And Kyle's like, what do you think of his hair? And she's like, I think his hair sucks. I was like, damn. Go off.
This was so good because she was ready for confrontation. I'm telling you, that Traders Roundtable is what taught her how to do this.
You strike first, always.
Yes.
So then Ciara says, it's also awkward because people try to be nice, but then they put a bunch of press out about them. Mm-hmm. But keep up the same energy. Like, if you're going to do that, keep up the same energy you had in the articles. Don't just go quiet.
Yeah.
And Gabby, wide-eyed, goes, I need the wine. I need more wine.
I am Gabby. And she's like sinking in her chair. She's like, this is not what I wanted. I will deal with this if I can have my full glass of wine.
I am Gabby.
And Bailey gets up and like tiptoes behind Wes to go get the wine.
Bailey, that was brave. Go around the other way. A wide berth. Anyway, so it's 8:34 p.m. Let's do this, right? Let's just do it. Also, shout out to my girls, Bailey and Lexi. They probably don't know what's really going on.
That would piss me off. I would want to know the tea.
But a lot of people, that's their own fault. A lot of people that go on reality TV don't watch previous seasons, right? So y'all should know. That's why Bailey got up to get the wine. Okay. She didn't know how important this was.
Yes and no. I think Bailey already knew she was going to be checked out and not really be on this show. So I don't think she cares. But Bailey does watch Bravo. She did a few years ago at least. So
okay. So she has an idea.
I don't think Lexi doesn't seem like the type to really sit down and watch our shows, people. So, but I would
a half-hour type of girl.
I'd be like, damn. Can somebody give me the cliff notes before they really go
back
off?
To the beginning? Go back to the beginning. What did I miss?
Yeah, Ciara, can you actually start from the beginning?
Stop. What happened? No, absolutely not. So Ciara's like, isn't it crazy? Like, why wouldn't you send a text warning about how you didn't like me and we weren't each other's people? You probably should have just said that at the reunion instead of in your article. Such a beta-ass move. And the camera cuts to Wes a lot, but Amanda's next to Wes. And her face is like proud mom. She is so proud of Ciara right now. It's not even laughing. It's literally just like beaming.
It's giving Madison from Southern Charm talking to Austin and telling him he's a beta-ass guy.
You're a beta-ass bitch. So Wes is like, okay, we can have a conversation if you want to. And Ciara's like, we are having one.
Incredible.
This is when Gabby slid down in her chair. And then Lindsay's like, do you mean a private conversation? And Wes is like, yeah, one of those. And Kyle goes, selfishly, I want to see the conversation.
And Amanda's like, stop it. But I was like, no, thank you, Kyle. Do not let this conversation go in private.
Shut the fuck up, Amanda. Let me live.
It bothers me that Wes will not do things in any type of public setting. Like, he clearly wants it to just be him and Ciara talking one-on-one. And I bet he would prefer no cameras at all if they could like go back to the city next week and talk on their own, because I don't think he wants to be held accountable. I think he wants to try again and just sweep this under the rug, make things good.
I talked to Ciara, we're good.
And make it good on his end and not have to be held accountable for every single action after the fact. He thinks it's just a one conversation. He can smooth things over and that is it, rather than thinking about truly who he is being to his quote unquote friend and kind of ex.
Yeah. My other issue is this is clearly the difference between people that know how reality TV works and people who don't. For those of you who might go on a show in the future, if you do something on camera, the audience is involved. Like we have to see reconciliations. We have to see you move on. Or I truthfully don't believe it. So at the reunion, when he said nothing, I thought, what a fucking loser.
Yep.
And then we hear, okay, so they grab drinks, whatever. I didn't see it. I still have my perceptions the same. If he wants to change my perception, he has to do it on camera. But then he releases a New York Times article, which obviously enraged Ciara. So I'm more enraged. And now he won't even speak to her at this table. I get you are uncomfortable with confrontation. Then this is the wrong show for you. This show is based off friendship, and we're all in each other's fucking business.
And I'm not asking you to have the Ciara, Danielle, Lindsay fight that we had like 2 years ago. Like, but speak. Like, react to her, what she's saying. Yes, he goes mute, and it is so fucking annoying. And it actually, like, let's put aside everything else he's done that I dislike. This alone makes me dislike you as somebody on my TV screen.
You're, like, it's almost like twice now you're kind of disregarding her feelings and just being like, we'll get to it later, when she's obviously feeling her feelings now. And it has to be a house discussion. The whole house is fucking involved.
Yeah.
Like, the whole audience is involved. Just have the conversation. This is like not it. I just want to like.
It seems like he just wants her to basically yap out all her feelings, and he'll just stay silent, and then like we'll just move past it. No, you need to talk to her. You need to stop doing your shitty things, but you also need to talk to her.
Yeah, I think he does. This might be a little far off, but part of me thinks he doesn't really understand what he's done wrong.
Yeah.
So he can't respond.
No, he definitely doesn't, because in his interview, then he's like, I didn't think the article was that harsh and all this stuff, when it's like, that's not what it's about. You cleaned the slate with her at the reunion, and then you kept going. Lindsay and Carl didn't even really do that.
You have to keep defending yourself. Like, for what?
Like, you don't have to. Like, just let it go. Like, focus on what the show is in your real relationships, because Carla and Lindsay, like Lindsay talked about it all throughout the season, like premiering and airing last season, about her own breakup. But when the reunion came and they aired it out, all right, it's deaded then. Like, we don't need to keep going. I don't need to keep defending myself. And if they talked about the reunion again on podcasts after the reunion, it wasn't to stir shit back up and try to defend themselves. They talked about how the reunion was, it went well, and whatever is going on now.
I don't think Wes is aware that what he's doing is actually making himself like look worse.
Agreed.
It is. Anyway, so yeah, Kyle wants to hear this conversation, as we all do. Ciara's like, everyone's involved anyway. Let's just do it. And she's like, it's crazy how we met up after the reunion and we could have just settled it then, but you have to bring it back up in a New York Times article. And Wes says he feels
whispers.
I feel like I've been so respectful.
Oh my God. If there's a guy I could punch in America today right now, it is first
Jesse Solomon and his
it's
koala.
He who shall not be named, not my president, and then Wes is second.
No, his first lady, Elon Musk,
you're so right. I'm so sorry.
And then Wes
President Musk, the first lady Donald Trump, then Wes Wilson.
Yes. So, anyway, Ciara's like, you don't actually care about being respectful. You care about the perception everyone else has on you. And it's so embarrassing that there's an article that you had to like put out there to publish.
To the New York Times. This wasn't a Bravo blogger. This was the New York Times.
And it's just to reiterate that you don't like Ciara. Like, she gets it. You have to keep opening up this wound. Do you know how annoying it would be, right? If in 6 months, Craig is still like, Paige didn't want any of the things I wanted. It still broke. We've moved on.
I know.
Let me live.
What pisses me off is people are calling Ciara a hypocrite for bringing up everything. And it's like, she's not. She is reacting to what Wes does to her.
She's reacting.
He's the one who keeps bringing it up and talking on it. And she is the second to speak on it as a reaction to what he is doing.
No one likes a scorned woman, but you know who does is Bravo. Bravo usually...
Yeah, well,
the real fans.
Listen, if Paige did an interview in 6 months and Craig reacted, I wouldn't be mad at Craig. I would be mad at Paige for bringing it up.
But it's also just like Ciara's reaction. Wes is making it seem like her reaction is not okay. It's out of nowhere. You're just mad. You're just this mad woman. No,
he's like, we broke up 6 months ago, and it's like, yeah, she knows. Yeah. You reminded her.
She was in Scotland. This was also new for her. She was in Scotland when it came out, so she left the castle and was like, "What the fuck?"
I'm like, yeah,
matter.
I'm embarrassed for him.
It literally doesn't matter. Anyway, so Ciara says it's a weak and a bitch-ass move.
Amen.
And Wes said he didn't mean it that way. And Ciara's like, well, you're a loser anyway. So I love the insult loser. I think loser's the best.
She was so good. She actually like brought points and insults and weaved them together so perfectly.
So great.
She metaphorically hit him with a wine glass. It was
good. Also, when you call someone a loser, you win. You win in my book. So, Ciara's even more mad now that he like didn't come prepared to say anything to her. Because it shows how little he cares. And Jesse just goes, "Wow, intense." And Ciara goes, "This wasn't even like an intense convo," which it wasn't.
No,
it was very calm. And Paige was like, "We literally have ex-fiancés at this table, and one of them's pregnant." And she was able to thank Carl for the steak.
Yeah.
Because you would think Lindsay with her hormones, but no, like literally this was the least intense thing that could have happened. And then Lindsay, to lighten the mood, has to go take a shit because she's constipated. Which I was like, she reads the room real well when she's pregnant. I don't know what happens when she's not, but pregnant Lindsay,
that's true. It's because she's unbothered.
She's unbothered. So it's time to clean up. They play some music before they go out. Carl tells the girls not to do the dishes. To which the girls are like,
absolutely. See, Carl is handling this like, hey, I'm the one who did the damage. He is doing well with his PR image in the house.
Yep. Carl went, I'm going to be more beloved than one man in this house.
I'm not going to tell people to be soft. I'll just do the dishes myself.
I got it. You go lay down. Don't even bother your pretty little head.
I will be in the kitchen.
Absolutely.
Let me handle
He looks
this.
at Wes and he's like, get over here in the kitchen with me.
Yeah.
So the boys do check in with Wes. Kyle's like, dude, Ciara was like expressing that you hurt her and you just fucking sat there silent.
I was so happy Kyle said this.
And Wes was like, I'm not going to argue with Ciara in front of everyone. And Kyle's like, the silence was worse.
Yeah.
And then Wes is like, he said after the reunion, he went into panic mode because of the backlash he was getting, which it has to be overwhelming. It's your first season. You get all this like backlash. When really you're just being like a fuckboy.
Yes, but I think he was only concerned because we praised him so hard in the beginning that he was beloved. Chasing the high. He was like trying to do damage control to get back what he deems he lost. And I think he looked at like, not like fully blaming Ciara, but just being like, oh, because we broke up, it's like something so silly. Like this is so stupid that people don't like me just because we broke up. When in reality, we liked you more because you were with her. Like our opinion in like love of you changes because the thing we fell in love with isn't happening anymore.
Yeah, we saw this sweet guy who was flirting with a beloved, which like Ciara, to be honest, was not really beloved before this either.
But if we're gonna think about it, a love story on TV.
A love, but like, yeah, my point is like things ebb and flow, right? We like people for different reasons. Yeah. Do I hate Kyle 90% of the time when he's bitching about something? Yes. But then he turns on his DJ
and it's like, this is what you were here for.
This is so fun, right? Carl gives me the ick most of the time, but then he does the dishes and I'm like, that's lovely, Carl, right? So it ebbs and flows. And unfortunately for Wes, we didn't get to know him as an individual. We got to know him with Ciara, and it happened to be with someone who wasn't necessarily super beloved at the time, but because of the way he and Ciara interacted, we beloved them both.
Yeah.
And then he ended things with her, and it was just an unfortunate series of events that then he didn't know what to do next.
He couldn't even sit in the discomfort of people disliking him for 5 minutes. He had to immediately jump on any article, any podcast, anything, and try to gain people's attention back, which only pushed people further away.
Yeah.
But he won't own that. He won't stop. I still to this day don't even think it's clicked for him.
I don't either, but the thing is, you can go and like defend yourself. Carl and Lindsay did both a great job of it, where they acknowledged the other person, but also defended where they were coming from. Whereas Wes comes across as like this guy who's trying to be like really emotionally aware of Ciara, but he's actually he's the victim. He didn't do anything wrong. Why is everyone mad?
Well, it's because the reason Lindsay and Carl broke up made sense from both sides. Like, Lindsay was upset and how it happened makes sense. Carl was like, hey, we had a chaotic relationship that shouldn't continue. Whereas Wes is like, she's not my person. And it's like, no, you wanted to be a fuckboy and you can't just say that out loud.
But I think if he just owned that,
I agree, but he's not doing that. He's not
like,
owning
Shep
the truth.
Owns it. Shep owns it, and everyone hates him, but he still is loved.
That's
love seeing Shep on my
It's the lack
TV
of honesty in those interviews.
He can't be disliked by one person. Because if he actually looked, there are a lot of West defenders out there.
Absolutely.
He only sees the haters, though. Like, he can't
He's so new to it.
Like, the way Paige is like, I see the haters, I see that I'm the villain, but I have a lot of defenders, so I'm going to keep doing me unapologetically. That's what we love about her. He's like, I have to go change everyone's minds about me. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, can we move on?
Yep.
So it's time to go get fucked up. Let's get out of here. We go out for about an hour and a half, and then we're back home eating leftovers at 11:29 p.m. We're looking at freezer food. We're looking at anything we can heat up. Specifically, Lindsay. She's like, where do I get it?
We get drunk people and then pregnant Lindsay munching in the kitchen.
Our dream. She's still here. She's like, she could have gone to bed, but she went, absolutely not. There are pizza rolls. I gotta
love late night snack time.
So, Ciara talks to Paige. Oh, and I get this. This was so relatable.
Oh my God. They're like whispering.
Yeah. She's like, can I be a little toxic? I still kind of want to make out with Wes.
I was
like, no, I get it. Because then you get drunk and you're like.
It's like cathartic to get all your feelings out too. Like, it wasn't helpful for their like friendship relationship for him to just stay quiet, but her just raging at him. And then you release it. And then you like want it to be better. You want it to be what it used to be. I totally understand just wanting to make out with him.
They've never been in the Hamptons or in this house before, not friendly.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's probably bringing it back.
Yeah, they used to like snuggle in bed together, and like whenever like they would come home, they'd be in one of their rooms and like do the watch TV thing. I'm happy she's with Paige in a room. I never thought about that. She's used to having like a buddy, and so getting back in a room with Paige helps.
Paige gets it too. She's like, no, I get where you're coming from. And Ciara doesn't know if like Wes feels bad about what happened or like is concerned with how he's being perceived. But like, because she doesn't really know where he stands, we all want to believe the best. You know, we want to be like, he feels bad, but we don't know. So it's Saturday, 3:10 a.m. And this is when Wes and Jesse come home because these two stayed out late.
We love it. We need the partiers.
And they find cold dino nuggets from 3 hours before that they eat. Ew. And Jesse's like, hey, should I get into Lexi's bed drunk? And
oh my God. I was like, if you do this, it's over.
Like, well, Wes goes, I did it last year to Ciara, but like, you shouldn't do that.
Well, he was like, but not on the second day.
Not on the second day.
You can do that in a week and a half to 2 weeks.
Yeah. And then Jesse's like, you're right, I can't. That's crazy. But he tries calling Lexi first.
Oh my God.
And then he ends up leaving a voicemail.
He just keeps doing the cringiest things. We're building a pyramid out of Legos of cringy moments, and we are almost to the top.
Meredith, if this is love, I don't want it. I don't want a voicemail.
Okay, I'm just such an avoidant person. So then like this, I feel as a viewer like I'm suffocating.
On the second day. If this is day 40 and you're leaving me a voice, leave me all the voicemails.
I need Bravo to give me an hour count on how many hours Jesse and Lexi have known each other, because I need to go to therapy over this. Like, I'm overwhelmed.
We call our therapist. You're like, there's this guy Jesse on my TV and he won't leave this.
I'm like, he's really triggering my like anxious avoidant attachment. Like, can we talk about this?
She seems fine with it, but I can't believe anyone would be fine with this.
I'm not okay.
So it is now Saturday, July 6th, 10:54 a.m. The house is waking up. It's a late morning for the house, 10:54. But Kyle and Amanda talk. He is really proud of Lindsay and Carl, that they're able to sit at a table together. And I was like, yeah, because sometimes when they were engaged, they couldn't be in the same room together. That is
so true.
But they're killing it right now.
That is so true. Actually, last summer was way more awkward to be in a house with them.
Yeah. And Kyle says it made him really happy, which I'm sure it does, because these are his OGs. These are the people he's grown with, you know? He does say it's weird that Lindsay's pregnant first, and Amanda's like, no, it's not. It's not weird. But Amanda does say, you know, because we saw it even a few summers ago, she always thought she would be pregnant by the time she was like 30. And like maybe she would be, but she has been struggling with her mental health, so she's working on finding the right medication for her, opposed to worrying about being pregnant, which I think is amazing. Amanda, you keep doing you.
I agree. I'm happy she said something, because I have wondered, you just kind of get curious about people, and being curious as a friend in like your real life or as like watching people on TV isn't a bad thing. I think we just like have a good interest in wanting the best for people and being excited for them. But like asking people when they're going to have kids constantly is probably really hurtful, because there's people who don't want kids right now. There's people who are struggling to have kids. There's people who might have lost, you know, pregnancies. You don't know what people are going through. And so it is kind of nice to know a little bit more about their timeline and journey and just be like, okay, Amanda's taking care of herself.
I also think it's nice because she did bring it up on the show before. Like if she had never brought it up, maybe not, but she had talked about wanting it. So I'm glad we just got an update of where she is in that journey.
Agreed. And she dropped a podcast episode. I forget what podcast she was on. I didn't listen to it, but she went more in detail about her like struggle with depression. And so I think that's a great opportunity to help other people with it. Like a lot of us deal with that. And so it's nice to be open. And I can't imagine the struggle of wanting, like dealing with your depression and wanting to have a child and having to make that tough decision. But you should take care of yourself, because I bet she's more susceptible to postpartum depression. Mm-hmm. So she really needs to focus on herself and her own mental health.
Absolutely. Amanda, maybe we have matching depression. I'll listen to the podcast. We'll see what makes us depressed.
Depression twins.
Depression. We can get matching bracelets. So Paige and Ciara start talking about dinner. I would just like to say that Paige's, you know how they always in Summer House have what they do for employment?
Yeah.
Paige's podcast host.
Oh, what? I don't know what hers has said the last 2 years. Was it just like, it was fashion something.
Fashion influencer or something like that. Fashion connoisseur.
Giggly Squad is on it. Like they're touring. Yeah. I think that has surpassed her like Amazon Live stuff, I bet.
It did make me want to like go back though and see what everyone's is, because I always forget. Because it was funny at first where it'd be like dental salesperson and like publicist, and now it's like influencer ? Like how do you identify?
I was actually in Charlotte visiting my family, and when I watched this, I watched it with my aunt, and she watches Bravo stuff, but not this show. So I had to do a lot of explaining through it, especially with all the couples. But terrible. I was telling her about, you know, everybody comes back to the city, and so then we were talking about like their jobs, and I was like, all right, these people actually did have jobs once upon a time. I was like, now some of them have started businesses, but mainly are influencers.
It was honestly more fun when they had I will die on the hill. I loved watching them coming out of the subway and being like, can you send me those numbers?
It annoys me because, let's be honest, those were set up, but you could still do that. Like they still take calls. They're still business-minded people.
I loved it. For some reason, there's a shot of Carl like walking down the street with his old ass headphones, you know, that because we didn't have AirPods, and he would hold the speaker close and he was saying something about like, yeah, I didn't hit my numbers this month, but like I can get there. And then he got like fired the next weekend. I was like, oh, he's trying out here.
So good. I want more of their work content, whether it's influencers, podcasts, West, like working for Complex, being a like sports journalist. Like I'm intrigued by all of that.
He almost had his own show. He only got 3 episodes.
Oh, he had his own show, but
his first date. I covered it. If you're interested, it's nothing.
West Date Ever. I was thinking about that show the other day.
Ever. That's it. Anyway, so Ciara and Paige are talking about dinner. Lindsay's saying like thank you to Carl. Paige is like couldn't be me. No. But Ciara's like, hey, whatever. And I needed to say what I needed to say. Will Wes ever get off mute? Who knows? Who cares at this point? And then everyone's in the kitchen. Kyle immediately is getting ready for this party. You can feel tensions with Wes and Ciara. So Wes and the boys go outside. Kyle tells Wes, like, you got to have a conversation with Ciara. Yeah. And Wes is like, I'm scared though.
Ugh, what an ick.
What a beta ass
What
move.
A little bitch. Ugh. Like, come on.
He misses last summer when he was man of the house.
Yeah.
Yuck.
But you changed the status quo. You're the one who like ended things with Ciara. And that it didn't all hinge on that, but it's every decision after. You chose this life, and now you're mad with the consequences.
That's the thing. If you really wanted to stay loved amongst everyone in the house, you probably would have just stayed with Ciara, honestly.
Or handled it differently.
Truly, just been like, I want to be a fuckboy. Okay.
This is a consequence of your own actions, so shut the fuck up and deal with this. Oh, nobody, I could have walked into any room.
I'm scared. Anyway, Carl comes back with bagels, and Lindsay again goes, to Carl. Thank you for the bagel.
I was like, this is not what I thought this season was going to be. West so outside, I can't go into rooms. And Lindsay, yeah, Carl.
Number 1 man in the house. No, it was so...
What planet am I on?
I don't know how people don't love Lindsay. I would literally at this point shave my head to meet Lindsay in person and interview her. I'm so obsessed with her.
Okay,
she's so funny.
I've had an up and down relationship with her, and I'm loving her. And I think
so funny.
I needed her to be unbothered.
No, it's because I taught you that you can't expect things out of Lindsay.
That's true.
That she has told you she's not going to give you.
That's true. That's true. I think it's a combination of level setting my expectations, being upset of what Carl was asking for her. And let's be honest, I as a viewer was probably asking some of those things of her.
Yep.
And her now being unbothered is so fun.
Can I just say, and I feel confident in saying this, those of us who love Lindsay also love Sheena.
Okay, let's not ruin Lindsay's reputation with Sheena.
It's the same thing. She tells us who she is.
No, because
let's believe her.
Okay,
Lindsay's better though. Lindsay's almost better.
Personality-wise, they are different, but I see what you're saying. Like they show you who they are. Believe them.
I see who she is, and I believe her, and I love her. Lindsay's the funniest person out here.
Is more my speed.
The thing is, she's probably fucking with Carl a little bit too, probably unbeknownst to her. But Carl's probably so anxious every time she's like, here to Carl. And
I think it's a little known and a little just it's happening anyways, but I think she is being overly nice so he can just shit his pants every single time.
Well, she said to him, she's like, you were probably nervous to talk to me. So now she's making it abundantly clear.
She will make sure they have those touch points.
We can talk. We can talk about bagels.
I won't look you in your eyes, but I will say, here.
Next time, Carl should say, Lindsay, I got your favorite kind of bagel. And she would go,
my God.
Thank you, Carl. How did you know? I remember we were engaged. That would be so...
Wait, this is giving me a path that they can maybe... I don't think they will ever be as close of friends as they were, but I think that they can sit next to each other at a dinner table by the end of this summer.
Find a path. And I think it helped that Carl took the consequences to his actions of ending the engagement.
Yep.
He has owned it, and Lindsay's like...
And he shut the fuck up. He took all the hatred.
Yep. Here to you, like, Carl.
Here we are.
Thanks for the bagel.
I would
die. I hope they just have...
Thanks for the bagel and the breakup. Love you.
Love you. What? Oh, my God. I love Lindsay.
Babe.
I love Lindsay. So, Lindsay says she's actually not going to be at the party today because she's going to go back to the city to celebrate.
Girly, I'm loving you. Stay around.
She's going to go celebrate with her boyfriend the announcement.
Ew.
And Carl is like... Thumbs up to you, girly. Lindsay, can I help you pack your bag? Like, he's like, let's get you out of here.
He's like, now I can flirt with people at this party.
Lindsay, Lindsay, let me take your bag down to the car. Yeah. It was so funny. And Gabby's going to go with Lindsay because her sister's in town. So what the mission is for this party is it's going to be a decorating competition. Boys versus girls. Weird.
It's also weird because it's 2 days after 4th of July and they're finally having their party.
Is that also the theme? It's a contest and 4th of July?
I think they're they need to decorate. No, the theme is 4th of July, but they're, in order to decorate, they want to split Wes, I bet Wes and Ciara up, and they're like, guys versus girls.
Oh, it's the boys.
Let's
the boys
separate each other.
That's crazy, because the number one time you can avoid someone is when we're all doing manual labor.
I know.
I don't have the breath to yell at you. I'm busy. Oh, whatever. So, Paige calls Craig chicken. No longer chicken. You can never use chicken again.
I'm thrilled that is leaving my universe.
She tells Craig how it is a little awkward in the house. They try and line up their schedules because, they're both very busy. Craig's not able to come to the city this weekend or until next weekend, but he's hoping Paige can take a day during the week to visit him, and she's not able to this week. So sad for them. No hangout.
I would love to know what their schedule was like and if it was 50-50 on them traveling or if one person did more.
I also thought about that because we know Paige goes to Charleston a lot. I'm not saying Craig didn't go to New York a lot, but I don't think it was as filmed as the Charleston stuff is.
That's true, because if he came during the week, during Summer House,
there's a chance we wouldn't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm also, my other question is, with Paige's job, obviously she has the podcast, she has to do different Amazon stuff, but also then at some point she travels for the podcast. And then, Craig, we know he has a store, but, how often does he go into the store? I'm not saying he shouldn't go into the store.
Well, he has two stores by this point, I think.
He has two stores. But I'm curious, how often does he actually go in versus, not go in? Is he doing any? He also has his podcast. Yes. I don't know if him and Austin divorced or not yet. I haven't watched Southern Charm. But
they in present time recently did a podcast. Live
so
episodes.
They do their podcast, and we know they don't do remote. They always have to record together for some reason.
Well, it's weird. They don't record together. At least Southern Charm, they're saying they don't record together. But they always
record in Charleston. Yeah. So I'm just curious. I would love. It's none of my business.
Well, and as a bonus, which this doesn't mean that Paige shouldn't go to Craig more, is when Craig comes up for Watch What Happens Live appearances or press things, it's in New York, so it is convenient for him to come up and see her a little bit more.
Yeah, so I would love to know what they're working on.
Yeah,
so then
because if it wasn't 50-50 and she can't, and she was doing more, and now she can't do as much because she has work things, that's not fair.
I think it probably also depends, right? When he is opening a store, he's probably busier. Yeah. When she's traveling for the podcast, she's probably busier.
And I don't want this to be a new way to villainize them, because I think people are finding anything to be mad at either party for, which is so stupid. It clearly worked for them, but I am just curious.
I'm just curious. I am very pro, just because I like to not be around people a lot. I'm very
hate other people.
I'm pro long distance relationships. I'm really good at them. I always think I can do them. So maybe I would love to see what they're doing, because I want to do that. Anyway.
They also live a different life because they're not working 9 to 5s in a
That's
office.
The other thing. I can't come see you on a Tuesday to a Wednesday. Yeah. That's a little crazy. But anyway, we need to mark the day, because Paige in her interview tells us that she does feel a little bad for Craig, because she's just a completely different person than the person that Craig started dating 3 years ago.
Yeah.
She's not going to apologize for changing and growing, but
don't ever.
It is different. And I do believe in relationships, you need to grow together, and that causes a lot of breakups when you grow separately.
What happened. I think both of them changed a lot. Both for the, nobody changed in a bad way.
No.
But yeah, I think Paige's life is just going in a direction away from Craig.
Yeah, and I also think when they started dating, she was, 28? And I think at 28, specifically anytime in your 20s, you think I'll settle down in my 30s. Mm-hmm. And then your 30s kind of hit, and you're like, oh, I'm still a kid, as Amanda put it. I'm still a child.
Yeah.
Also, I think this is a very common ebb and flow. Paige wanted different things. Craig wanted to be more domesticated. He's also well into his 30s.
Yes.
So the time is
is different.
What they're living is very different.
I think she truly wanted what Craig wanted when they first started dating. I think so too. And so as she started creeping towards 30 and passing 30, she
30
realized
seems
she didn't
so far away. 30 is so far away when you're 28.
If you would have told me when I was graduating college, like, would I be married and have kids by 30? I would have been like, yeah, that's my goal. But now that I am almost there, I'm like, that feels weird. I'm a baby.
I even sometimes think, like, because I was thinking about it because I did just turn 30, and I was like, 28 seems so long ago. Like, I didn't know what I wanted, and I still kind of don't, and that's okay. Like, normalize.
I think we're waking up to
having it together,
deciding we're not going to know things at an arbitrary point in time. Yeah, just because I have a 3 in front of my age doesn't mean I'm going to have it all figured out.
It also makes you think like your parents actually didn't know anything.
Oh my God. I talked to my grandma about this. I was like, Grandma, if I got married right now, I would be a child bride in my mind. If I had a baby, in my mind, I'm a teen mom. And she was like,
what do I do with it?
She was like, do not get married. She was like, I got married so young. And not that she regrets it. Like, she got divorced from my grandpa. But she was like, no, own your time. Like, do it, girly. I'm like, hell yeah, Grandma.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Anyway. So yeah, they're just in different spots. We could also say... we've seen plenty of relationships that just they grow separately. Carl and Lindsay kind of grew separately in a way too.
I just don't think they were ever on the same page.
They were never compatible, but they were, if you think about it, they were friends for 10 years. You don't think they had the conversations about what they wanted?
Yeah.
And then it aligned, and then they did it, and then they realized they're actually not compatible now.
think their life plans are aligned. I don't think they're compatible.
Yeah, which also, they could have been maybe at, when did they, like,
no,
31?
I don't think they would ever be compatible.
I think they could have been. No, never. But like, in a way, they did also grow apart in the way that they're just not compatible. Maybe they were as friends and then they took the next step and it didn't work. We grow apart.
The classic fear of going, like, taking it further with your best guy
Tom Schwartz and Katie grew apart, dare I say. No, he never loved her.
Yeah, I don't think those are good comparisons. We're getting more and more, like, not good relationships. Craig and Paige had a good relationship.
Tom Sandoval and Ariana grew apart.
Oh, okay. I don't think they were ever together. In her mind, they were. Apart. In his, they weren't.
Anyway, it's time to decorate, but then that's when Wes is like, hey, Ciara, do you have a minute?
Knock. Are you alone? Because I only have conversations alone.
He can't put on a shirt. He has to show his ex's nipples. I'm not body shaming. It's the nipple part. It's, why are we half naked in front of our ex? Okay, it doesn't matter what your body looks like. If you're my ex, I don't need to see you shirtless. In my room alone. It doesn't need to happen. It's crazy. Anyway, he starts with, is this summer gonna be fucking awful?
Oh my God.
That's the opener.
It puts it on her. It puts it on her.
Rate it 1 to 10. Someone opens a conversation with you.
-14.
So Ciara says she's going to move forward, but whenever she says something, Wes doesn't say anything. So they can't really move anywhere. They also haven't really talked since January, so it's going to be a little awkward.
Yep.
And Wes says he thought they had closure. So, like, what happened? And Ciara's like, it could have been dead, but you went to the New York fucking Times. And then Wes said, if I would have known that would make it worse, I wouldn't have done it. And I went, no, that's the worst thing he's ever said. That's the worst thing he's ever said.
How did you, again, it's the New York Times. It's not just some blog. Like, no offense to us Bravo podcasters, Bravo blogs, fan pages. Like, you went to a mainstream, like, media source. Insane.
Just to tell everyone you didn't like this girl, and that's not going to hurt her feelings.
Insane. You thought you guys were going to be good after that?
Come on.
Shut up.
Come on. You couldn't even go to a high school newspaper and tell them you didn't really like Ciara. Yeah. She'll get over that real quick. Everyone reads the New York Times. That's fucking crazy.
I remember when that came out, and I was just like, oh God.
Dude, if my ex went on, like, a few months after we broke up and just went to the biggest newspaper in the country and was like,
I don't like her. I never saw myself with her.
That would crush me.
Never would have been long term.
I would wish to be in a castle in Scotland away from my phone.
I would have wished that I was murdered on the Traitors in the coffin.
But for real.
Like, lock me in there.
Just stick it in. Be done. So Wes feels in defense. And Ciara's like, yeah, but that's what you care about is defending yourself. You don't care about me.
Yep.
You don't care about what you did. And Wes is like, I'm learning that.
Oh my God.
It's like weaponized incompetence at this point, obviously.
Yes, because why wouldn't you also like talk? I get it. You're new to this world, and so you don't know how to handle this. Like, go talk to somebody else. One of the veterans who have been doing this for years.
Hey, Kyle, should I go on? Literally, you could ask Amanda, who's like, would give you a woman's perspective, is friends with your ex, and has been doing this for years. Hey, should I go?
Would have even been like, let's not.
Should I go blow her up and tell everyone how much I didn't like her? So Wes owns he fucked up. He apologizes for saying the things that hurt Ciara. And Ciara's like, great, we just have to get to know each other in like a different light because they really only know each other.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, we are rebuilding here. You wanted to go back to how it was before we like really got serious.
Before we made out that first time. Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be, you cannot revert back to what it was. It's not like you kissed once in a bar.
Guess what, Wes? You want to know what your relationship looks like? It looks like Ciara going, thanks for the bagel, Wes. And you going, you're welcome, Ciara. That's your future. That's your relationship in the foreseeable future.
That's your goal. That's your goal point.
Yeah. Literally comfort. That's what we all want. Carl's no longer freaking out every time he has to talk to Lindsay because she'll probably just thank him for something. Yeah. That's what you want.
You're never going to like feel as comfortable as you were last season because you're never going to be able to comfortably walk into Ciara and Paige's room and like giggle like Jessie is. No. And like with some of the other girls, like you're not going to have that relationship. You burn some of those bridges. You need to rebuild the bridge.
Yeah. But Ciara says she's good. And you can tell Wes is kind of like, but you're not good. Like, he still doesn't get that we're rebuilding.
He wants the like, hey, we're all good to the point where we are like we were last summer. And it's like, that's not an achievable distance. You will get the thank you for the bagel.
Yeah. So Ciara just says like, she doesn't know if she could be friends with Wes again, which is fair. Fair. Anyway, that's where the episode ends. So next time on Summer House, we have our 4th of July party. It's kind of crazy that the first weekend is 3 episodes, but whatever. We had to pick up a lot of shit. Kyle is going to invite Emerald. I'm going to get his name.
I got you on this one.
Emerald. We learn Emerald likes having sex.
I don't think we're going to get him until episode 4. I think he's going to come up next episode. But he was out of the country for 4th of July. I already stalked him.
Oh, that's right. We're still on the same weekend. I forget.
Don't worry. We're on July 6th.
I forget we've been here 2 days. Yeah. Lexi wants to be exclusive.
They're both delusional. I thought that conversation, because we saw that in the preview, happened a month in.
August, at least.
I'll give you July. We're in July. I will give you end of July.
No.
I will give you like July 28th.
August 1st, fine. Anytime before that's a no-go for me.
But like, anyway, what was that?
No. Kyle sent Paige a text yelling at her about Craig, and she's pissed. And we better get the text. I will write the whole thing down and read it.
Do you know what that gave me flashbacks to? And I'm going to make a video about this.
Email?
Yes, I immediately started Googling the 17-page email.
Immediately, that's all I thought about was the 17-page email. Because Paige scrolled down her phone and it looked like a 17-page email. There might have even been a document in there. Like, I don't know.
It was just a bunch of singular bloop, bloop, bloop texts.
It looked crazy. Like, he's on drugs sending these messages.
I'm not one person who writes everything into one sent message. I am a multi-texter, but your max can be 4.
If you say no, just send a 17-page email at that point.
Send an email at that point.
Send me one email. That's crazy. And also, why are we yelling about Craig?
I can't wait to get some of the reading. I can't wait to get some of them.
I want the whole thing. I hope Paige screenshots and goes, put it on the screen.
Let me see if I can get it and take pictures of it.
I want the whole I'll do a dramatic reading of it like I always love. Anyway, so that's where we end. Let's do fun, not fun, shall we?
Let's do it.
Start with not fun. Meredith, who's your not fun?
Jessie, again. I can't do this. I can't do this. I need to go to therapy over this.
I love it. I'm going to do Bailey because she's nowhere.
Oh, God.
Which is fair. I was going to do Lexi because of the koala. I held it because we learned more about her.
You can pick her next week when she has to be exclusive after 72 hours.
Who's your fun?
I am going to go with Ciara again. These are my back-to-back picks, 2 weeks in a row. I love her going after Wes. It's exactly what I needed. I feel so good. She did so amazing with that.
I agree.
And I love her wanting to be a little toxic, wants to kiss him a little bit.
I agree.
I understand.
Okay, I was going to do Lindsay, but I think we had literally like the same people last week. So
Lindsay was amazing.
Lindsay was amazing.
Thank you for the bagels, Carl.
She is so funny. I am, though, going to give it to one of the OGs. I'll give it to Kyle. He was absolutely hilarious trying to spy. I liked him defending Ciara, him with the microphone. It really warmed my heart to hear him tell Amanda, like, it made me happy that Carl and Lindsay talked at the table. Yeah. Like, the fact that made Carl happy Kyle happy, it shows he really cares about both of them, which we knew about Carl. It's questionable with Lindsay sometimes, but
I think deep down he does care about her. He just tends to stick up for Carl more.
But he's grown so much with Lindsay, and those two are two peas in a pod. It's like a mirror looking at those two. So, emotionally, mentally, and physically, those two. But it made me giddy. So shout out to Kyle.
Who's your?
I hate giving it to a man. But Meredith, we also do have some Summer House thoughts from last episode, but we'll talk about them at the end of this episode.
Give them to me.
So if you're interested in giving us your thoughts, that is for our $5 a month patrons. We'll post weekly, and we'll read your thoughts live on the podcast. I say live, but this will not be. You know what I mean. Anyway. Megan D says, Lindsay, girl, are you leaving the show? That monologue was like an hour long. Excited to see the dynamics with her and the girls since they all seem to be getting along. This is Brat Summer, Megan. This is Brat Summer.
This could also be her farewell tour.
We really went on a roller coaster with her because she's going to sleep with a guy in a bed.
So you have to announce that you're leaving. So then for an entire summer, people can mourn you.
I get it. That aligns with exactly who Lindsay is, and I support.
And I have ideas of where she should go. I'm going to create a video on it because I have a whole plan that Bravo should follow. We love unsolicited advice.
So Ciara, best thing to happen to her was coming from filming Traitors to the show. I think she's going to kill it with addressing things head on, and I loved how she stepped away from West.
Same.
As we talked about. West needed to be humbled, and I'm glad he was. Jesse, what would Jesse Solomon do? Flirt way too hard, my dude, but excited to see how the summer goes. Paige, no notes, love her. Amanda, how are you still happily married, or how are you still married to Diplo?
Oh, God.
Kyle has yet to piss me off this summer, so we'll see. Carl, you couldn't pay me $1 million to share a house with my ex-fiance. It's a choice.
Same. It's a choice.
Gabby, I hope we see more of her outside of hanging with Lindsay. Get those away games, girl. Literally.
True.
Go fuck all the international men you want.
True.
Lexi, this girl, ... I needed to get to know her better. Allegedly, she dated Brooklyn Beckham, which I also saw.
In my timeline.
In your timeline. That's crazy. That's hot. Brooklyn Beckham is.
They never made it official publicly, so I don't know truly where they were at. There wasn't much on
Beckham, though. To kiss a Beckham. I would prefer David. But
the kiss was at a tattoo shop, which is even wilder. They got caught by paparazzi.
Were they getting matching tattoos?
No, he was getting a tattoo. She wasn't. And there were other people in their posse.
How old were they again? Why do I think Lexi's 20?
She's 25 or 26. I forget.
She's 26 right now.
And in the show or in present day?
In the show.
Okay. This was definitely before the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
So
they were babies.
Yeah.
I was going to say in the picture they looked like babies,
Yes, because she was living in LA at the time.
Interesting. Okay, and Bailey, having a man's suitcase with the tracker but not dating him. Oh, whatever. I don't care about Bailey.
I don't think he purposely put the tracker in. I think it's I have mine deep into my suitcase. So if somebody borrowed my suitcase, I would be able to track them.
You're just not going to take the tracker out.
Yeah. I want to be hold on, let me take out my air tag right now.
So Tonette says, Wes needs to be brought down a peg, and Ciara understood the assignment. I do love that him and Jesse are sharing rooms. It's definitely going to be a lot of giggles.
I agree.
I'm feeling a little protective and not willing to share the spotlight with the newbies. I don't know how to feel with them the first minutes, with the newbies being first in the house. Oh my God, Tonette, it drove me crazy.
I agree.
Granted, I wish Bailey would get more screen time. She's from Kentucky, as am I, so it's nice to see someone from Kentucky who doesn't have a fucking country accent. Lexi is adorable. That was verbatim, Tonette. That was verbatim.
I'm dying.
That's the quote.
I'm dying.
But it's probably the same way we felt about our Midwesterners, specifically Jesse and Wes, because I grew up very close to Jesse.
I understand. And I'm so
right
sorry. It sounds like she won't be around the whole season.
Got to find another Kentucky person
but
on Bravo.
I was also pissed that they entered basically the second. I think that's what ruined it for a lot of people. You got to ease them in. But I do think we should give Lexi a chance. We don't have to be hyped for her every week in these first few episodes. But I think she will grow on us.
I agree. Tonette's last thought is, could have gone without the timeline, but love where it ended. Almost literally cried. I loved Lindsay's time. I don't know why we all hated her.
I think we needed it. I think we also needed to hate on it.
Yeah. So happy for Lindsay. Love that Paige is choosing kindness towards Lindsay this season. To each other, baby. Those two, they could take over the world.
They've come a long way.
They can take over the world together. Okay, amazing. Those are all of our thoughts. That is our episode. Please be sure to do all the things. Rate, review, subscribe. It really helps the podcast. And yeah, that's it. Meredith's killing it on TikTok and Instagram too. So go look. I'm
having
so
I'm much fun. I'm having
she's having fun. If everyone saw me try to fucking film a TikTok, it's worse than watching your mom try to access email.
I'm thinking in my brain. I'm just posting them now.
That's amazing. Mine's empty. But go check that out. She's very funny and very great.
Thank you.
And yeah. I think that's it.
Well,
do all the things.
Thanks for joining. Bye.